Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and it's time for Noir November. So if you are unfamiliar, Noir November is a challenge that I created about 4 years ago that really spurred me to be able to promote Black books on my channel and on my page on IG. Now, I have since found my community within the IG space, so it's not that I'm lacking for diversity and content on my Instagram. However, on BookTube, I do see that there's still a need for us to be able to talk about Black books, for us to be able to recommend it, and for us to just promote them. And this is important because, again, I have 13 prompts here. This is to let you know that there is a Black book that can be found in every particular genre. Blackness is not a monolith, nor is it defined in the specific books that you read. So I wanted to make sure that I had a Black recommendation for each and every prompt. I wanted to start off with Black romance, which you know is my jam. This is primarily a romance channel. While I do diversify my reads, I'm always going to have a Black romance recommendation for you. And the one that I have is probably the one that has the community in a chokehold and has had it for the last 2 years. And it's finally my time to read it. So I'm going to be reading Elle Kayson's Demon's Dream. This one is 800 pages. That is me starting off with gusto. Like, this is me being ambitious that I'm going to read any other prompt other than this one. But I hear it is a compulsive read. So once I start, I'm not going to be able to stop. And that's exactly what I need. It's been on my Kindle for a minute and I'm in the process of booting things out. Like, I'm ready to keep it ticking. And so Demon's Dream has definitely got to be read. Now moving on to Black fantasy, which is probably my second favorite genre that I'm going to read. I'm picking up Blood at the Root by Ladarius Williams. Like, I knew I was going to be reading this at some point this year. It is magic, but it's Black boy magic, and it's told from a Black man's perspective. So I know this character is going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders. I know he's going to be able to be the one to change the world, and I know this perspective is going to be authentic. I cannot wait to read this. I believe Ladarius is coming to my hometown in December, so I'm going to eat this one up so that when I see him, we have some things to chat about, because the people are talking, the streets are talking about this book, and I want to be in on a secret, because we don't have enough characters, young adult books that are featuring Black men, but then you add on that magical element to it and it's a game changer. So this is what I'll be reading for my fantasy pick. Now in November, that is actually nonfiction November. And while I don't read a ton of nonfiction, I do at least try to get one or two in for the year. There was one year that I did one for each month, but that was a challenge. This one here is going to be standing for nonfiction and or memoir, because I primarily read memoirs, but this year I'm going to read a nonfiction pick, and that is going to be Hood Wellness by Tamala J. Gordon. This is talking about what does it look like for self-care when you're struggling to make ends meet, being in a marginalized intersectional community. It talks about, I'm assuming, everything from the mortality rate when it comes to the birthing projects, all the way to what does it mean to live in a food desert. These are things that I'm thinking that it could be talking about when it comes to the wellness. It's a discussion from multiple women perspective, right? Because again, as I stated, Black is not a monolith. So we all have different struggles, but we all are on this health journey together. And so I want to see what that's like. For my fourth prompt, I have Black historicals. And this year I did read Sadika Johnson's House of Eve, but I would be remiss if I didn't go back and start with Yellow Wife. I hear this has a tie-in to House of Eve, and so I needed to go back and read it. I did not start with this because I knew that this was going to be a little bit too heavy, but I think I'm ready and it's time. And I know that it's going to, break me apart, but what Sadika Johnson does is she has that lasting memory effect. My fifth prompt is a new release, and as you all know, I tend to get a lot of arcs, so what I will be reading for the month of November is going to be Church Girl by Naima Simone. This one features a preacher's kid, so it's good girl, bad boy. The guy is a tattoo artist. She falls in love with him. They come from two different backgrounds, two different worlds, and they're just trying to be happy in their bubble, but trying to reconcile with what that means for them as it pertains to their family and their lifestyle. So This is one that the cover definitely got me. The author, I've had some hits from her and I've had some misses, so we'll see what this one does for me. But it definitely comes out in November and I will be reading it. For a Black novella, at this point I'm tired of saying it, and I'm pretty sure that you all are tired of hearing it, but it's time to wrap up A.E. Valdez's The Rise and Fall series. This one is the second book for Asen and Harlow. It is the beginning of forever. This gets to where Asen and Harlow are at the point, is it forever? Are we ready to walk down the aisle? Or is life gonna break us apart? And I just need to finish this series. I cannot go into 2025 still reading this, still recommending this, because at this point I've had it on my TBR probably 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6 at this point. So it's getting embarrassing. I will be reading this as my Black novella and closing out that series. New to me Black author, I do want to read Denisha Little's Kiss My Scars. I've had this as my 5-star prediction. It is a friends to lover romance that I've heard Denisha Little has some really good points. It is a thicker book, so I'm hoping that it is very angsty and that I believe they were in high school. They were, you know, the guy was the basketball star and his best friend was the nerdy one, and she's always been seen as a threat to his girlfriends. Lo and behold, she's never really seen him like that, and now it's time for them to have their chance. So I definitely want to read this one. As far as Black audio narrator, I'm definitely going to be reading Captivated by Danger, which is the second in the Danger family series. It's time for me to continue on. Like, I need the third one to come out in audiobook, because if it came out next month, baby, I am tearing up the series. But it definitely has Black narrators. I do not remember who exactly it is, so I will put that up on the screen for you all to see. But it's definitely getting read in November, baby. It's time. Now, Black classics, I'm going to try for Toni Morris's The Bluest Eye. I know that this one is typically banned in a lot of states, so that only makes me want to read it more. Toni is a pillar of our community, and it would not be right for me to have a Noir November without reading a classic, and I'm choosing Toni for that one. Now, as far as the Black horror, I just read The Reformatory, and I'm trying to see, really honestly, if I am in a space to put myself back in a horror category. If I do, I'm going to be reading Del Sandine's This Cursed House. This is a debut novel. It just came out. I didn't even read the synopsis. I just looked at the cover and I said, that'll do. That's the one for me. So if anything, I'm going in there blind, but if I go in there and it's giving too much for me, baby, I'm out, because The Reformatory did it for me. Like, that was one I was like, ooh, can I do a horror back to back? Can I be angry and upset back to back? I don't really know. Black mystery, I don't necessarily have one for that, because very much like The Reformatory, I read a Black mystery this month, so I don't have one just yet, but by the time I get into my November reads, I definitely will pick one. If you have a recommendation, do me a favor, leave it below. What is a Black mystery that you have seen, that you have read, that you want to promote, and you would like for me to read and review on this channel? Put it in the comments, and I'll go search for it, because I need something to get my juices going. I think The Mayor of Maxwell Street is a Black mystery, but it is a chunker, so I'm not sure if I'm ready to get to that. If you all don't have a recommendation, I may pick up that, but leave it down in the chat. Tell me what you think, and I'll give it a consideration. The last 2 prompts I have a Black sci-fi, and honestly, if you know me, it's gonna be Elizabeth Stevens. I'm still trying to get through this Taken series. I'm on the 5th book, and this is Taken a Core. It has a plus size FMC. This is kind of like an enemies to lovers space pirate jam, and I was salivating when I finished the 4th book, and I was like, yeah, I have to have it in my hands. I've got to read it. This is definitely going to be read. It is time for me to continue on in my Taken journey and see what Elizabeth has to join us. And then the final prompt is going to be a Black children's book or a Black young adult book. And y'all know it's time for me and Amari to connect. Link up. We are ready to go on the next adventure, the next journey. I'm riding for Amari. If nobody else is going to be on her team, it's going to be me. I'll be there. I have been waiting for the audiobook to come into my Libby, and I now have it in my possession. So we ride at dawn. Now, this is what I'm going to leave you all with. If you want to do me a solid, like I said, leave me a mystery recommendation. I believe there is a magic ball, so give me that magic ball symbol. Give me some type of sparkles, because you know my girl Amari is shining. Tell me what you're reading in November and if you want to participate in the challenge, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.